Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Empower to Live. I am your host, Andrea Rose Butler, and I'm so glad that you are here with me on this evening. Thank you again for joining me in this episode. I hope you've had a great day today as you are preparing for Christmas. I can't believe that Christmas is next week and that this year has flown by and that we are coming to the close of another year. 2024 is heading out and 2025 is on its way in. So many things have happened over this past year, some good, some bad, but I hope that your 2025 will be a whole lot better. In preparation for all of that, I've been talking for the past few weeks on limiting beliefs. And as I was thinking about this, I was like, I don't know if I've actually shared the definition of what a limiting belief is. And I said, I want to do that tonight. I want to, before we jump all the way in, I wanted to share the definition of what a limiting belief is. I know you probably heard that being spoken about. And, do you actually know what that limiting belief is? And so it says the limiting beliefs are negative, self-deprecating thoughts that prevent you from reaching your full potential. They can be about yourself, the world, or how you interact with others. Limiting beliefs are often subconscious, that means we do them without even thinking, and can be based on generalizations formed from painful experiences in your formative years, so when you were younger. And some examples of limiting beliefs are I'm not good enough, I'm too old, I'm too young. We've talked about those too. I don't have enough time, I'm not smart enough. But tonight we're going to talk about another limiting belief, and that is I'm a failure. And sometimes we can take an event and rewrite this whole story, this whole narrative about who we are based on an event that happened. We can paint this picture, and so every time we attempt something, we look back at that episode, and say, this is who I am. And so we can say that I am a failure because I made a mistake, I made a poor choice, I did this, or I tried this and it didn't work out. So therefore, not only did the event happen that didn't work out, but then it becomes and it defines who you are as an individual. You says now, because I have made this mistake, and sometimes, because it says in our formative years, it could be that when you were a child, you did something that was, maybe you failed a test, or maybe you didn't make the team, or you weren't chosen, or you didn't um, get picked to be in a play, or whatever it is that happened. Maybe you got up to sing in church or wherever, in school, and you froze, and something happened in that moment, and somebody that you cared about, that parent or whomever, said, you're a failure. Look at what you did. You embarrassed me. And so every time you make an attempt to do something, that limiting belief comes forward, and you hear that voice of that parent or guardian or whoever says to you that you are a failure because of a decision that you made, or something that happened that was sometimes probably out of your control, that occurred. And you carry that with you into your adult years. And every time something happens, you may say to myself, why try? Because it's going to fail, because I am a failure. And we know that that is not true. But because we say this, there's another part of this where they talked about that self-fulfilling prophecy, where you said, if I try this, it's going to fail. And so therefore I'm a failure. So therefore anything that I do is going to fail. And it just fulfills that whole prophecy of I'm a failure. And so I want to come and challenge that tonight. So I've been challenging these limiting beliefs that we've had. And so this one is, again, you're not a failure. You may not have succeeded at something that you tried, but that does not make you who you are or what it is that you did not accomplish. I can think about a lot of things in my life that I have done, where it didn't work out the way I thought it was supposed to be. I set myself up in my mind that this is what's going to happen and it's going to turn out like this, and it didn't. And am I a failure? No, because I took the chance, I stepped out, and I did it, and I've learned some valuable lessons. And I was thinking about this quote um, while I was thinking about making this poor decision, or thinking about failure. And Henry Ford that says, failure is an opportunity to learn, to begin again, this time more intelligently. And so, just because I would say this, that everything that we do, whether it turns out good or bad, we're learning lessons. And so, therefore, you did not fail, you learned something. I've shared before, Thomas Edison says that, when they asked him about all the times he failed with the light bulb, he said, I didn't fail. I learned how it's not going to work. So I did it. This didn't work out. Okay, so let me try again. That didn't work out. So let me try again. And we keep going until we find success. Success is a muscle that has to be worked, and it's worked in failure. It's work on these lessons that we learned when we do what we know we're supposed to do. So if you think about it, when you try to exercise and you get out there and you're like, oh my God, I can't do one sit up, I can't do one push up, I can't walk to the corner, but you keep going. And as you keep exercising and keep pushing and you keep moving and moving and moving and moving, and in those exercising moments, you're going to have some pain because the muscles are like, I'm not used to this. I don't know what you're doing. Why are you punishing me by doing this? But we keep going. And then next thing you are walking, 3-4 miles. You do, 7 or 8 or 10 or 20 push-ups or sit-ups or whatever it is that you're working on, and we do this, but we have to keep going. And so in order for us to succeed, we have to change the way we think. We have to change how we view the things that don't work out. We can't look at it and say, I have failed. I've shared on this broadcast and within the past few weeks and so forth about, all the things that I did not do right when I got started, and I'm still learning. But I purposed in my heart that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going. And you're going to see, if you look back at some of my older videos, you're like, oh my God, what is she doing? And it's okay. It's okay. It was about learning. It was about growing. It's about finding out what works and what doesn't work. I'm set up now. I'm in StreamYard. I'm so proud of myself. We were sitting here trying to figure it out, make sure I did it right this evening. And so now I'm sharing on Facebook and then LinkedIn, and I got my YouTube channel set up. And so, but all of these things were things that I learned. I shared last week about how I didn't know about saving these videos and that it wouldn't get deleted. And that my first month of videos got deleted on Facebook because I didn't know how to save them and make sure they didn't get deleted. I thought, oh, well, they're always going to be out there. But they eventually went away. And so I just wanted to, come out again and to share. It's okay. It's okay for us to make mistakes. It's okay for us to look at life differently, to look at the choices that we make, to look at the things that happen, and don't look at it as a failure or that you are a failure. I want you to get that out of your mind. You are not a failure. You have learned a lesson about what not to do. And hopefully that you come at it in a different way. You recognize, like Thomas Edison said, that I did not fail in making this light bulb. I learned 100 ways that it would not work. And so for you, and so he never saw himself as a failure. And I want you to not see yourself as a failure either. to look at yourself and look in the mirror. And, they talk about affirmations, and affirmations work. I have to get up sometimes and I say to myself, no, you're going to have a good day. Um, you're going to be a success. You have to do this. You can do this. You can be confident. I'm an introvert by nature, and by doing this, getting in front of this camera, week after week, and putting myself out there and sharing of myself and doing this and expanding my reach. That's something I never thought I was going to do. In my younger self, never saw myself in this place. Never seen myself being able to get here into this place and say, okay, if nobody watches, if nobody joins in, if nobody will you still keep going? What is important is that the fact that you try, the fact that you don't give up on yourself, the fact that you keep giving of yourself, you keep doing what you know that you were purposed, that you were called to do, and that you're out here and you're doing it. And so, every week you will see me out here. You will see my mistakes, and that's okay, because then I learned. I was like, okay, that's not how you do that. I see people and they look so polished, and one of the things that inspired me was a young lady. She went live, and she was in her car, and I've done that. And she was on her phone doing her live. She dropped her phone and she just kept right on talking as if nothing happened. And I was just like, okay, that was not. But she didn't break stride. She didn't do anything. She just kept on moving. She kept on pushing, and people may look and said, "Oh, that's so unprofessional." Her phone was upside down. She was trying to get it together after the phone dropped, and she just kept on moving. And she was just, she was okay. And the people were just like, "Oh my God, and that's so heartwarming. That was so good." And I was like, people see the things that you do, they see you trying, and no matter what it looks like. And so when you get the negative thoughts out of your head, and said, she could have said, ended the live right then and there. It's like, oh my God, I messed up. And, people were, thanking her for keep going, in what she was doing, that they didn't say, oh my God, you dropped your phone. She kept it moving. She had a good word. She was encouraging. She was positive, and she kept pushing. Maybe she had limiting beliefs, and maybe she got off that live, and maybe she beat herself up. We don't know, because during that time, she kept going. She was positive. And I believe that, that inspired me, that even in the times when I don't get it right on here, and you're going to see it, you're probably, if you look back at the old ones, you'll see some stuff. And I'm probably going to mess up again going in the future. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing. I've had to retrain myself also to not think of myself as a failure when things don't work out. So I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm saying, you are not a failure. It didn't work out, but okay, let's keep moving. Okay, what next? My mentor, one of the things he used to say is, what does this make possible? And you're going to hear me say that a lot. So even in failure, and if it didn't work out, what does that make possible for you? What does that make possible for you to do? Okay, so that's not what, maybe you were trying to be like somebody else and doing what you saw them do, and that didn't work out. So be yourself and do what you know that you're supposed to do, the way you're supposed to do it, because that's the way you were created to do it. And don't give up. Keep pushing, keep going. Okay, so that didn't work out. Okay, so what next? What next? What did I learn from this? And then how can I do it better? I'm just here to encourage you to live the empowered life. And what does that look like? The empowered life could be, an opportunity of not making it, but that's not what success is all about. Success is about trying. It's about taking that step to begin that journey of moving forward. It's not about, I'm on here and I've got, I've already made 10,000, subscribers and this is happening, that. No, the success for me is that I'm here every Thursday evening. You know, like I said, I've done it, where we were out, we've been traveling. And for many of y'all know that we left the US and we moved to Mexico. And so we were, even that trip, my daughter was talking about how, she planned all this stuff out and she had her spreadsheets and she had all this stuff and she planned all this stuff and nothing came out the way it was supposed to, nothing turned out the way, the trip was longer, all these things happened, but it was a journey and we made it. We are here, we are learning. And so in those journeys I've had to do, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to hop on and just like, hey, I'm here. It was 5 minutes, it was 10 minutes, it was whatever. Being consistent, never giving up, always trying, recognizing that the thing that happened is not who you are. So you are not a failure just because something didn't work out. You are a person on a journey and you're learning lessons along the way. And so I just want, again, I'm just here to encourage you that you are able to live this empowered life, that we have been given everything that we need to live godly and to live this life to the fullest. So join me again next week for another episode of Live Empowered. I hope you have a wonderful night and I'll see you next week.